Hello, hello. I'm Casey,
And I'm Fallon.
and this is
Render
the
the darkness.
Ominous.
What? What is it?
Ominous.
Oh, I thought you said ominous. I was like, what the
Ominous.
What is ominous?
I was waiting for you to get your little ET finger out of the way. Alright, this is a serious case today. So, literally nothing happened to your face at all.
I'm very serious, so
From serious to serious.
Serious? This is my serious face. This is my serious face.
I see the difference. With one face, you're like this. With the other face, you're like...
Yeah. Okay. Sorry. All joking aside.
This is our first case out of Florida. Jumping back on the 50 states thing. I'm not sure we should still call that like our 50 state series so much as we're just kind of jumping back and forth at this point. We're still covering the states in order, but I'm not sure it's like a series at this point. We're just...
Well, I mean, kind of. I mean, it's, like we're doing, it's almost like, how series, they do one episode a week.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like, what we're doing.
Oh, yes, yeah, okay. This is our first case out of Florida. And this is the case of Danny Goldman. Before I get into that, your fun fact for this episode is that snails have teeth.
Really?
Thousands of little tiny teeth.
Oh.
Yeah. Or depending on the species, they can have almost 25,000 teeth.
Wow.
Like, the teeth are like on their tongues. They're like tongue teeth.
Where are the snail's mouth?
Their tongues. Huh?
So where's the snail's mouth?
I don't know. I didn't Google.
I don't know, I'm just sitting there, thinking of little snails that you see that are about like this big, like where?
Oh my god, how cute would it be if a snail stuck its tongue out?
It would be cute.
But then you'd see all them teeth up there. That may not be as cute.
Kind of like a penguin.
Yeah.
They got some scary ass teeth. But they're cute.
Not the teeth, penguins.
Yep, the penguins. The teeth are not scary. That's the paper.
This one. This guy. Okay, so back to our episode. Danny Goldman. Daniel Jess Goldman, who also went by Danny, was the only child of Aaron and Sally Goldman, and his story is really sad, actually. So Daniel was born on March 29th, 1948, and by all accounts, he lived a normal, happy life, which is kind of another one of the reasons why the events that took place on March 28th, 1966, on the 1100 block of 88th Street in Surfside, Florida, came as such a shock to everyone. Around 5:35 a.m., Aaron and Sally, Danny's parents, were woken by an intruder. The man demanded $10,000 from the couple, which is almost $100,000 today, or pretty close. When they explained to the man, who had actually addressed the couple by their first names, but they explained to him that they didn't keep that kind of money in their home, but they would but they would write him a check.
Right.
The man kind of changed course at that point. He would go on to bind Aaron and Sally's hands behind their backs. I read he even went so far as to tie a knife in one of their knots and a pair of scissors in the others so that they couldn't try to untie themselves. And then he taped their mouths shut. After that, he told the couple he was going to take Danny, and that is what the intruder said. He said Danny, so he even knew their son's name. But he said he was going to take him like as a hostage, and that they had until 6 a.m. March 29th to give him the money, or the ransom amount would be doubled to $25,000. The guy woke Danny up, told him to get dressed, and from what I read, they drove off in Danny's car, which was a Nash Rambler sedan, and I believe it was white in color. Before leaving with Danny, the man told Aaron and Sally that he would call with delivery instructions for the money, and he also told them that if they didn't give him the money, he would kill Danny. Mm-hmm. This happened to be the day before Danny's 18th birthday. Uh-huh. Sadly, this would be the last time Aaron or Sally would ever hear from or see their son again.
Oh, that's terrible.
It's terrible. It's really sad. The most the police found of him at the time was his car, which was the most the police found of Danny at the time was his car, which was found just a few hours after the kidnapping. It had been abandoned in a parking lot. The Goldings did their best to give a description of the man. They said he was white, between 5'8" to 5'11" in height, weighed between 180 to 200 pounds, looked to be somewhere in his 50s with gray hair, and perhaps the most important detail in their description was that he had a very distinct walk. He walked with a limp. They also recounted that he was wearing glasses with silver trim, dark clothes, and a baseball cap. But Aaron had also said that he didn't get a good look at him in the dark, but I've covered cases where descriptions are given, and that was a pretty detailed description for somebody who didn't get a good look at him.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's really good description. I mean, really.
Yeah, but that's neither here nor there. Aaron also said he felt like he might have known the man.
Right. Yeah.
And according to Aaron, the intruder wasn't angry at all. He said he made sure Sally's ropes weren't too tight on her wrists and that she could breathe. Which is not really typical kidnapper behavior. The only other thing police found afterwards was a piece of what looked to be a surgical glove. It was the tip of one of the fingers of the glove, and police assumed that maybe the glove had gotten ripped off when the man was tying up Aaron and Sally.
Yeah, okay.
At least that's all they claim they found. Put it that way.
Okay.
As for motives, there was initially two separate theories. The first theory was that maybe the kidnapping had been a setup because Danny was about to turn 18 and was set to be drafted. So there was a theory that the Goldmans had staged a kidnapping so they could hide Danny and he would avoid going into the military.
Okay.
Another theory was that someone may have targeted the family because Aaron, who was a member of the board for the 5 Point Bank in Miami, had recently reported some suspicious activity occurring at the bank, and so maybe someone was trying to get back at him for talking.
Okay.
As far as evidence, their best piece of evidence at the time was a piece of glove that they had found. The glove was from a brand called Sterling. This particular brand of glove could only be bought in Canada, where it's manufactured. The police did actually reach out to the CMA, which is the Canadian Medical Association. They sent a letter describing the glove and a description of the kidnapper, and the CMA actually did go on to publish the letter in the Canadian medical journals, but unfortunately, this acquired 0 results. And it seems like that was kind of the extent of the efforts that were made to investigate this piece of glove.
Oh, okay.
Sadly, Danny's parents would pass away, never knowing what happened to their son. Aaron passed away in 2010, and Sally would pass away 2 years later in 2012, with the case actually having gone cold.
Oh, that's terrible. They passed away without knowing what happened.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine. That's absolutely awful. And this is where the case goes from your ordinary missing person kidnapping case to something pretty incredible. And it all started with a letter from Sally Goldman herself begging people to please not give up on finding her son. And it was solved thanks to a group that was combined with childhood friends of Danny's, as well as community members. and other people in the police department and investigation department who just simply refused to give up on finding out what happened here after reading Sally's note.
Oh, that's awesome.
So they reopened the case in 2012, actually the same year that she died. And this group of men, the group of friends that had reopened this and really tried to dive into it, they referred to themselves as the Posse. The group consisted of David and Joseph Grobart, Anthony Blake, Harvey Lisker, and Paul Novak. Novak, who was a lawyer that grew up just down the road from the Goldsmiths and was actually the previous mayor of Surfside where the kidnapping took place, he made it his personal mission to find out what happened to Danny. He reopened the case and used his own finances to look into it, and after almost a decade of not giving up, the case was actually finally solved.
Oh, wow.
Eventually, the story of what actually happened to Danny began to come to light the more they looked into it. See, when Aaron had reported the suspicious activity that was happening at the bank and was interviewed by the FBI, what he couldn't possibly have known at the time was that the suspicious activity that he was reporting on was actually the workings of the mob using the bank as a money laundering facility.
Holy crap.
They were able to do that largely with the help of the Miami-Dade Police Department, which is actually who insisted on taking over Danny's case.
Oh, okay. Well, that makes a little bit more sense of why they didn't really go above and beyond to...
Right. And these weren't just like any old mobsters. These were not the mobsters to mess with. These mobs were ran by none other than Jimmy Hoffa and Santo Trafficante. I think I said that right. Trafficante, something like that. So, yeah, there was definitely some suspicion there immediately. It should have been there the whole time. Obviously, huge cover-ups somewhere along the line. But anyway, so I think it was like 1 week, Aaron said something about it and was questioned by the FBI, and then like the following Monday is when Danny got kidnapped. Or something like that. Like, it was very soon after, within a few days. Using the glove fragment the kidnapper had left behind, as well as a fingerprint found at the Goldman's house and other documents found about the case, Novak and the group were able to piece together that Danny was kidnapped by a mob member by the name of George DeFace, who, with the help of a man named Joe Chicken Casator, had killed Danny and threw his body into the Atlantic Ocean as a way to punish Aaron Goldman for ratting on them, even though Aaron didn't know that that's what he had done.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, how would he know?
He didn't.
I mean,
he didn't.
That's crappy, you know.
Well, you know, the crazy part is that I also read, and I didn't put it in here, but the Miami National Bank or some other bank in Miami had recently been going through all the same stuff with like the suspicious activity, and it turned out, you know, that they were doing the money laundering through there, and they'd actually taken over that whole bank or whatever. So like Aaron didn't know anything about any of that stuff.
Yeah.
So although it's absolutely incredible that Novak and the others joined forces and refused to give up on finding answers, it's even more incredible that they were able to solve the case.
Yeah.
Sadly, Aaron and Sally never got to know the truth, and justice in this case can never really be served because DeFace passed away in 1980, and Casator had already passed away by the time the truth came out as well.
Oh.
But there is actually another avenue of facet associated to the Danny Goldman case, which is that while they were looking into this case, the investigators had to explore other cases associated to the mobsters in order to find the information linked to Danny's kidnapping. And there was close to 40 other cases that were ultimately connected to the same crime moguls involved, and it would come to light that Danny wasn't even close to the only victim of DeFace. I feel like I'm saying it wrong. I'm just going to say George.
Okay.
Not that he deserves for me to say his first name, but I can't really pronounce his last name. Or I'm not confident that I'm saying it correctly, so I'm going to say George, which is the man convicted of or accused of kidnapping and killing Danny.
Hmm.
Anyway, it would go on to be proven that he was involved in the homicide of at least 3 other people, which was Estelle Ado, Gertrude Hinschel, and Richard Cloud.
Hmm.
So, in a way, Danny helped open the pages and solve several other cases, as well as helped to blow the top off the deep level of corruption that was taking place in the police department. Sorry. And he would go on to reveal just how much was being controlled by the mob at the time, and he also inspired investigations into many other unsolved cases that will hopefully be solved one day too. And that is the tragic story of Danny Goldman and how the hope of a mother kept his case alive and the determination of old friends helped lead to solving the case.
Wow.
This was a sad but strangely inspiring story, I thought.
Yeah. I mean, it sucks that it happened that way, but like you said, because it did, they were able to find out who was responsible for the other murders, and then like who was. I'm sure they probably found out all the corrupted people that were in the police department. At least
They
I
did.
hope they did.
Yeah, like a couple of weeks after Danny's kidnapping, I think there was like 19 different people in the police department and the bank that were all indicted. And I mean, nothing ever happened to them, but they were at least indicted, and it was at least known on record that they did get indicted. Unfortunately, at the time, being the 60s and the mob being so rampant all over, people got away with all kinds of stuff back then. Crazily, and I mean, people get away with all kinds of stuff still to this day, but especially people, that had ties to the mob, they really got away with stuff.
Yeah.
So, and sadly, Danny was one of those casualties who, was really innocent of anything. And I mean, really, realistically, Aaron was too. He was trying to do the right thing. He's a member of the board. He thought he was protecting the bank.
Yeah.
A really sad story.
Yeah, like I said again, I really hate the fact that his parents didn't get to
find out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But again, I'm glad that it got solved. So that was
it did get solved, and it did help solve some other cases and open some other cases. So there was some good that came out of this tragedy, and you can't say that about all tragedies. So at least something came out of it at the end of the day. So.
Yeah, that's true.
But that is my Florida case, and I did it on Danny Goldman because I thought it was kind of an inspirational story a little bit. So
yeah, that's really good. Thank you for bringing that. I've never heard of it.
Yeah,
it was interesting, very sad, but like you said, very inspiring as well.
Yeah, it just goes to show you, if you just keep going, like if you just don't give up on something, like chances are you're probably gonna figure it out, or meet your goal, or whatever it is you're trying to do. So, look at me being all positive and encouraging. Don't give up. And that's our case. So thank you guys for hanging out.
We greatly appreciate it very, very much.
Yes, we do.
It's like I sound really weird on the audio.
Gollum, my precious. All right. Well, if you enjoy our cases, you enjoy what we do, you like our faces, you like our voices, whatever. You like our green screen activity behind us, you like her hat, whatever. If you could give us a like, a share, a subscribe, a follow,
a comment.
Yeah. You got a case you want us to do? You want us to cover? You think we'd do a good job at it?
Yeah.
Trust us with it? What a compliment. How flattering that would be.
Do it.
Do it. Just reach out. Okay. Anyway. I stopped that one immediately. Yeah, that's it. So we are Render the Darkness. Push the button.
probably gonna leave that in there.